The Righteous Life Rescue Ranch is going to be a horse and dog rescue. We're going to specializing in rescuing horses, and we're going to either retire them and they will be put into our equine therapy programs for autistic folks or veterans with PTSD, or we will rehabilitate horses and then put them back into as working horses for our ranch via trail rides or lesson horses. And then we're also going to have a dog rescue division where we are going to empty the kill shelters and take all the aggressive dogs that no one wants to work with. And we're going to train them and we're going to domesticate them. We're going to turn them into service dogs, and then we're going to carefully pair them with a veteran with PTSD. So that's really special, as Rafe here was the inspiration for that, as he was on death row himself. And I rescued him. He was so aggressive when I got him. He bit me really bad in the first 2 hours of having him. And then in 4 months, I was able to train him all through YouTube, finding the aggressive dog training videos. And then I made him my service dog 5 months later. So the training techniques that I have created for dogs like Rafe are going to work, and we're going to save dogs' lives and veterans' lives through my programs with these dogs being their service dogs. So really excited, and just traveling, doing this journey has been a real eye-opener, that even the equine therapy programs that we're going to have are going to touch many, many lives, as it has already with my one horse on this journey, as I've witnessed dozens of people come up and just touching him for a few moments, people have cried and said, I just really needed that today. So it's really special what these animals have to offer with their energy and just their presence alone. So it's really excited what the Righteous Life Rescue Ranch is going to bring, not only to people, but the animals as well.
So actually, with it being Memorial Day tomorrow, how do you think, so you mentioned it will benefit the veterans' PTSD. So how do you think over time their PTSD will improve through this program you are going to provide for them?
Well, I noticed that, a lot of people with PTSD, they lack love for something, and which is why a lot of veterans or people with PTSD are very suicidal. And I am a victim of that myself, and Rafe saved my life. Rafe just knew in the moments that when I had said it in my head, I had called it quits and I was about to get up and go take my life, Rafe read my mind and came over and jumped on top of me and would not let me up. So the dogs that we train, they're going to be able to recognize this behavior, as Rafe has, and they are going to give the veteran a purpose. Right now, since Rafe saved my life, I cannot imagine another person owning Rafe and taking care of Rafe or Buck. So now I have a purpose, and these dogs are going to give people with PTSD a purpose, and it's going to be to live for these animals who are going to be their best friend, their soulmate, their caretaker, because these dogs just connect with the people. And everyone that I've talked to that has just not only a service dog, but a rescue dog has been their best dog they've ever had. The dogs get it. They know that you're saving their life because of what they've been through and what they've experienced in the shelters, which is nothing but isolation, no love, no training. And they're going to get all of that. So when they see that humans are actually good for them, they're going to change their energy, not only the veterans' energy as well. It's going to be a complete reconnection with life for both people, and it's going to be reciprocated on both levels. And it's hard to imagine that, but it just happens that way. And with the proper training that these dogs are going to get, that are going to turn them into lovable dogs, it's just going to be, the shoe's going to fit on both ends.
So what about the horses as well? So how can someone gain therapy through the companion of a horse as well?
Well, it is proven that horses have this certain energy about them that just relieves the stress hormone inside the human body just by their presence alone. And that's proven and documented. And like I said, just by my one horse going down the streets and people interacting with them and them touching him, And them saying, so one of my things that I've been saying that the Righteous Life Rescue Ranch is going to do for people, it's going to cleanse souls. And many people have used that exact phrase just from coming up and touching buck. And I wish I had it on film with these people saying that phrase, because that's what I've been saying the Righteous Life Rescue Ranch with our equine therapy is going to do for people. And it's exactly what it did for the people on the streets. It cleansed their soul with a matter of moments, just spending with buck. And our equine therapy programs are going to allow people to spend a lot of time with our animals. So right there alone, it's just proof that the equine therapy works with people. And it's just something that everyone's going to have to come and see for themselves. If you are having down thoughts, give it a try. There's equine therapy programs all over the place. In East Longmeadow at Pat Bean, who owns Whispering Horse on Hamden Road in East Longmeadow. She has equine therapy programs for autistic folks, and it works. So it's just really special, and it's I can't wait for the Righteous Life Rescue Ranch to be able to give this back on a large scale.
So I just wanted to clarify, is this money going to programs that already existent, or is this starting a new program?
The money that I'm raising right now is to create the Righteous Life Rescue Ranch. The Righteous Life Rescue Ranch does not exist right now. The programs do not exist right now. So I'm raising money to build this. I have already got my financial budget planned. Everything is in the works. I am a 501c3 already. So the Righteous Life Rescue Ranch does exist as a 501c3 nonprofit organization. So all the money will be going to that to build this operation. I do have a GoFundMe, and people have been very generous to donate to that and to donate to this journey itself, which is actually something to donate to, as well as it takes a lot of logistics and funding just to get through this alone, between gear failing left and right and having to go buy new gear, vet checks for my horse, new shoes for my horse, which is every 4 weeks, and it's like $300. So, the bills add up real quick for this journey alone. So all the money is going towards very good things for the animals or for the production of the Righteous Life Rescue Ranch.
So what led you to want to start this journey, like actually go around the country? Like what actually inspired you on that aspect?
Well, my number one thing I love to do is ride my horse, and I have just really, that's how I connect with nature, and that's how I cleanse my soul. Buck is my equine therapy, and Rafe is my daily therapy when I'm not with Buck. So I'm covered both ways from my bad thoughts with my animals alone. And I just want to ride my horse every day, and I want to work with horses and dogs every day. So it really inspired me to cross this country and set this record, because I just feel like I'm meant for something bigger than what I was doing, which I had an amazing life before with my company, Perella Events, a high-end event planning business in New York City, throwing parties for many celebrities all over the country. And not that it wasn't an amazing career, it served me very well, but I now, going through the PTSD that I had, I need to help others in a much broader spectrum than to throwing parties. So my animals inspired me to do this, and God inspired me to do this. And it's just really heavy on my heart to get this operation going and to help not only animals, but people as well.
All right. Actually, I'm gonna pause this real quick. It looks like your video cut out. I'm not sure what happened. Like it looks like the video turned off.
Let's see. It could be low battery. Oh, great. Okay. Is that better? There it goes.
There we go.
So I got 20% battery.
Okay. All right. We'll probably do this for another 10 minutes, so we're good. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's see. I wanted to ask you too about like what will be your first steps in that program? Like what would be your first step you're going to take?
The program for the equine therapy or for the rescuing of dogs?
You know what? Both. For both of them.
Well, first, very first step is we're going to have to reach out to horse shelters or horse sanctuaries and see if they have extra horses that they can't provide for anymore. And we'll take those horses off their hands. And if they are already retired, then they will stay retired, which means they will not be ridden. They will only be used for equine therapy. And that will be just people walking around with them, touching them, caring for them. And or if there's horses that they have that are injured, we'll take them and rehabilitate them. So the first step is to find the animals, get the property, build the barns, and get the whole establishment ready for the animals. That is the very first step, actually. Then we need to find the animals, and then we need to find the people to come and enjoy them. I am thankfully blessed with a friend, Brian Doe, who is from East Longmeadow as well, who works for the veterans. And he is actually already placing people into equine therapy programs and knows people that connect veterans with service dogs. So thankfully, Brian and I have been friends a long time, and we have already spoken. And when the time is right to start taking in animals, then I will reach out to Brian and we will start matching people up with these animals. Hey.
All right, perfect. And then also too, are you a veteran yourself?
I am. I'm a former Marine Corps sergeant. I served in the Marine Corps from 1999 to almost the end of 2003.
So what were some of the things that you kind of went through that kind of impacted your mental health, would you say?
Well, to be honest, the Marine Corps is not where I developed my PTSD. I did not go to combat. So I served for a little over 4.5 years. And I got out. I had 2 orders to go to combat. Both orders were canceled right before we actually put them into effect. My PTSD developed when COVID struck and I lost my business for 2 years, and I lost all my funds. I was homeless for 1.5 years, living in an RV in a parking lot during the winter where I couldn't have any water in my RV because it was froze. I couldn't shower for like a week. I was having to go to the gym to shower in the pool shower that you rinse off before you even go in the pool, because at that time during COVID, all the bathrooms were closed and you couldn't go in the bathrooms because it was all regulated. So it was a very rough time in my life. I had to go back to doing manual labor in the winter outside, freezing. And, it was just, I couldn't adventure, which is what I do first and foremost. I am an adventurer. All my funds were shut off for that. And I just didn't know how to handle it. And I had no purpose. Some people that I thought I could lean on to help and get my life back in track were not there for me. And I had a few huge business opportunities because of the clientele that I do work with. So, if you get a business opportunity with the clients that I have, it's a pretty penny for a paycheck. And when you lose those opportunities left and right, it's just very disheartening. So I just had no purpose. I felt like it was just like, where do I go from here? My life is completely just gone from great to nothing so fast. And I just I didn't want to keep going down that road. It felt like it would have been just easier if I just wasn't here anymore. So I was literally like hoping and praying for death almost every day. And 2 times I decided to actually take my life, and Rafe had different plans for me. And I couldn't be more honored to have this dog in my life who was blessed by God to me. And, there's a bigger picture for me, and it's clear now. And it's this journey, and to create the Righteous Life Rescue Ranch to help others that are going through the same thing that I went through.
I definitely believe you're going to be a huge inspiration to many. I do believe that. You're already like a huge story. You're telling this from the bottom of your heart, and it's amazing to hear this myself.
Thank you.
Yeah. Also too, I wanted to ask, so like when you actually got to meet Buck and Raph, am I saying that right?
Rafe.
Or Rafe? Sorry.
Yeah.
Rafe, okay. So when you first met both of them, like how did you know like this was gonna be my horse, this was gonna be my dog? Like how did you know that immediate connection was real?
Well, with Buck, I'll start with Buck. Buck, when I first saw Buck, His face was in the corner of a dark stall. He didn't want to have anything to do with anybody. He was just very quiet, the most relaxed horse I've ever seen. I test rode him first, and he was very trained. So to make Buck go, all you have to do is squeeze him on the side here. So you'll see him move forward by just a gentle squeeze like that. You see how he moved?
Yeah.
That's all it took. So Buck is extremely trained, and he was already when I got him. And I knew some beginner riders were going to be getting on him, and people panic to hold on and they squeeze. So that's just telling Buck to take off. And I knew that, my mom would probably get on him and other beginner riders. So I didn't want a horse that trained. So I actually went with a different horse. Well, that horse ended up being a real psycho in like no time. So I ended up taking him back because he was going to really hurt somebody. And Buck was still available, thankfully. And I test rode him again. And it was just a no-brainer that he was just the perfect horse for me. And the fact that he was still available just proves that it was a meant to be connection, because he is just a joy to ride. And now switching over to Rafe, there was no guarantee that Rafe was going to be the perfect connection, because he was as psycho as a wild wolf when I got him. And, he latched onto my arm, something really fierce in the first 2 hours of having him. But then after that, it was a one and done situation. He bit me really bad, made me bleed. It was right at the Mountain View restaurant in Hamden, Connecticut. There was kids all around, parents watching this as my dog is shredding my arm apart. I'm screaming. He was in a kennel and his face was hanging out. I kind of like slammed his head in the door a couple of times just to get him off my arm. And kids are screaming, parents are like freaking out, and it was just like it was a complete scene. Blood's dripping all over the place, and I yelled at him after I shut the door on him, and he bowed his head, and he was sorry. And I knew right then in that moment that he was my dog. After that, he never bit me again. He growled at me a couple times. I yelled at him immediately after he growled at me, and 2 times, and it was done. And then he was my dog. And then 4 months later, he's saving my life. So, I mean, it couldn't be more of a success story, because he was on death row himself and I saved his life. 4 months later, he's repaying the debt to me. And now, well, I don't know where he went, but he's probably in the shade. Now the connection between us is just absolutely incredible. For a dog to be able to read my mind twice, not once, but twice, in the moments that I decided to take my life. And I didn't say anything to him. I didn't do anything. He just knew in that moment. He came over me, and there's no other explanation for a meant to be connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they say, a dog's a man's best friend, right?
100,000%. And between the two of these boys, my goodness, every day is just, I wake up and I feel nothing but happiness now. When August of 2021, I was ready to take my life. And now I just could not be any happier to have a purpose, to have a mission, and to have these boys in my life to remind me that I have a bigger purpose.
Yeah, that's super tremendous of you too. Like I can't wait to see this actually happen,
I
have all
can't
this come together.
I cannot wait myself. Part of the programs with the Righteous Life Rescue Ranch that I'm really excited for is, I want to build I want this to be a big operation, not a small operation, so that I can host many retreats at once, either for veterans or autistic folks, to where they either have their own cabin or set off in like a little rustic setting, or a TP setting for a little more rustic vibe. But people to get away, get really into nature, to really experience nature for what it is. And also each cabin, each TP setting is going to have their own horse. So people are going to come, they're going to get a little brief lesson on how to take care of their horse, how to feed it. It'll be walking around their campsite. So it'll really make them dive into what these animals are about, how to take care of them, and in a really cool setting. And it's just going to be spectacular, what we're going to create. And you can't wait. I can't wait to give this to people.
Now, is this going to take place all over the world? or like
No,
country or like different states? Like, how's it gonna actually operate? What's your
I mean, if you know, in the big picture, if this could be created all over the world, I'm game to be the person to create this, you know. But that's going to take a lot of money, and that's going to take some serious funding. And you know, if people want to jump on board, then I'm the man to create this. I am that determined right now. First, I want to start with it in Asheville, North Carolina, and get one off the ground and be the prototype for this to prove to others that this is going to be a huge success in saving animals and people's lives. And from there, you know, the sky's the limit. And, you know, many other people have proven that, you know, with the right determination, the right funding, anything's possible.
So the takeoff is going to be in North Carolina then. That's where it's going to
At
all start and happen.
Asheville, North Carolina. And I chose that because it's the furthest south where you still get the beautiful mountain vibe. The winters aren't super harsh. Yes, it still gets cold there, but you know, I can be operational 10 months a year versus out west or up north where it's really only about 5-6 months a year where people really want to come and, you know, be outside and engage with these animals because it's just too cold, you know? So, you know, the cold brings people down just on its own level, never mind, you know, living in it. So I want to be operational where people can come get away from their experience and have this be their safe zone to come and soul cleanse, as I like to put it.
So really, it's not just targeted to one or two audiences. It's targeted to many then.
It is targeted to many. The dogs are targeted to one audience, the veterans with PTSD. The equine therapy programs are going to be designed to veterans with PTSD, which we're going to host many retreats for them, autistic folks, or anyone that wants to come spend time with these animals because they have so much to offer. And I don't want to just disclose what they have to offer to everyone. Everyone needs to experience this for themselves, but the dogs will be for veterans solely.
Okay.
Veterans with PTSD. So we're going to carefully pair them up. My friend Brian is involved with the PTSD program, so he's going to find me the people that need these dogs, and other people as well. Other veterans associations are getting a hold of me. So there's not a shortage of dogs, and there is certainly not a shortage of veterans with PTSD who need these dogs because we're losing veterans. I think it's something about 20 veterans every day to suicide, and that's got to stop.
I definitely agree with that. And what is going to be your end state? Like, so what state are you going to end up in last on this journey?
Well, you know, the plan is to follow the American Discovery Trail to San Francisco to Limanator Beach in San Francisco. Now, that all depends on if I make it to there in time to get through the Rockies before winter. If I don't make it through the Rockies before winter, October is my goal to get through the Rockies. Then I will have to take a hard detour south. And then my next would be not only how fitting, but I would love to end on a beach in Camp Pendleton, Marine Corps base in California. I'm a Marine. I was stationed there with the 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines Golf Company, which is up in San Mateo. And that is definitely where I would like to either end off on the second. American Discovery Trail is my first choice, but I've learned real quick on this journey, planning is, it's not easy. A lot of my plans have already failed and I've had to just make things go on a whim. So I can't really give you an answer of where I'm going to end right now. Ask me once I reach the state line of California or in October where I am, because that will determine.
Yes, we can always do a follow-up story.
Great. Yeah.
And it does turn out I lost you again on the video.
Oh, yep. My battery chimed again. I'm at 10%.
Okay.
So there we go. We're back.
So how do you actually or how are you able to charge everything? You have a vehicle right there, right? Is that a vehicle?
I do have my vehicle. Yes, I bought a battery pack, like a jumper pack, and which saves me from having to turn my vehicle on a lot. So I just plug into that. It has a little cigarette lighter adapter, and I'm able to charge my phone and other things with that versus having to turn my vehicle on all the time. I was blessed with, I'm represented by Dash Talents out of DC, and they were so nice to donate a generator to me. So, ladybug. I'm actually blowing him off because I got bit by one of those once, and that hurts. You never would think a ladybug hurts, but their bite packs a real punch. But back to topic. I also have a generator that I'm able to cook on. I have an electric skillet that I cook on, and I also cook my coffee every morning with a hot water maker. So I do have power, but it does take gas to power it.
Okay.
And big thing was just blessed with this morning. Lisa Ann, who is part of the Mustang Drive, you can find her at the mustangdiscovery.org. And she just donated a full-time driver to me for the next month. She is actually riding 5,000 miles to raise awareness to adopt 5,000 wild Mustangs. She's actually ahead of me on the American Discovery Trail right now. So she's doing huge things herself. And she was so kind that she has, quite a good team of her own. And she was so nice enough to donate one of her own team members to come and help me out on my journey. And it's been the hardest thing to get a driver to move my truck forward and ride up to the truck every day. So that prayer has been answered by Lisa Ann, who's on the Mustang Discovery Drive. She's on the American Discovery Trail right now. So she's doing big things. So if you would love to help her out as well, please go to her site, mustangdiscovery.org, and give her a hand because she's doing big things for the wild Mustangs.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that one out too. That'd be
She's doing very incredible things. Yeah, definitely someone to check out. And the fact that she donated one of her own team to me is just huge. She is going to be a huge part of the success to the three amigos completing this journey. Whoa.
Oh, did I lose you?
No, I said whoa to Buck, who's.
Oh, okay. I was like, all right. Okay, very good. All right. Let me what was that website called again? I just want to get it down one more time. Her website.
mustangdiscovery.org, or it might be .com.
Okay.
Are you finding it?
Oh no, I was just gonna write it down and I was gonna look at it after. So
okay.
I'll probably reach out to her maybe this week. So
oh, please do. She's her stories are incredible. She has 3 wild Mustangs with her and a pack mule. So she's actually has 2 veterans coming today to meet with her. So she brings these Mustangs and she's riding them across the country, and she brings other people to her 2 wild Mustangs to come and enjoy and join her adventure. And random people get to come and ride her Mustangs on the trail for a day or day 2 or whatever. So she's doing some really cool things with getting people to join her adventure. I wish I had more horses to have people come and join me. Thankfully, I had a guy named Greedy Man who's out of Baltimore, Maryland, who is one of the owners of the Carlton Street Stable, right smack dab in the middle of Baltimore. And he got on one of his horses, Pimp, and he escorted me out of Baltimore. And him and I just rode together for 10 miles through Baltimore. And he was the first person to join my journey on a horse. And what a cool guy, because he inspires people and touches lives every day with his horses in Baltimore. So they're doing really cool things at the Carlton Street Stables in Baltimore, Maryland, because Baltimore is a pretty rough city. And just bringing my animals through that city alone really uplifted the people and was a real inspiration for myself to keep going with this because I saw what it's doing and what it brings to people on the streets. Like real hardcore gangsters, just smiling at me and welcome me into their city. And I have my animals to thank for that, because everyone told me not to go to Baltimore, to go around if I could, but something drew me there. Something inside me just told me I needed to bring my animals there, and the people needed to experience them. And, it was such a humbling experience to bring my animals through, and it turned out to be an amazing experience. So, that's just proof of what these animals can do for people. It can take the hardest people and really soften their soul very quickly.
So you don't only go through like back roads, you go through the cities too.
I've gone right through Baltimore, right through Annapolis. I spent the night on the Navy and Marine Corps Memorial Stadium parking lot grass. Um, I've gone right through DC. Almost got arrested by the federal police because I didn't know you needed a permit to bring a horse on federal grounds. But thankfully, they were one of them was a Marine, and he sympathized with me, and he showed me an alternate route out of the city. So yeah, no, we go right down the highways. We go right through the major cities. We go right through everything. We're going to be going through Cincinnati, Ohio. So there, there's no ground we're not going to cover going through this.
So you said highways. Do you mean by like vehicle?
Oh yeah, no, but on my horse with Rafe running right alongside. We go right on the shoulders or right in the medians, where there's grass. I try to pick the safest possible section of where we're gonna go, but my animals are so trained and so on point with this because we've been training for this a long time. So it's not something you can just jump on a horse and bring a dog and go and do on these roads. No, a lot has built up. I've trained for years on Buck riding around East Longmeadow and Springfield. So he's been accustomed to my choice of travel, which is on streets. So and then when I got Rafe 2 years ago, I threw him right into it and started his training right away and got him comfortable with Buck and riding alongside us and learning commands to go from left to right, follow, being able to position him around Buck. So that way, if he needs to quickly change side because of broken glass or there's no good footing, I can just move him right around my horse as I please.
So they never get like terrified of like a moving car or anything?
Buck does not spook at moving cars. He doesn't spook. The only time he gets a little twitchy is when he's going under an underpass. Something maybe with the vibrations of the sounds might, but he doesn't spook. He just, you can feel him getting antsy.
Okay.
But I just talk to him. I say, easy. Ooh, like he likes soothing sounds, and just talking to him, it calms him down and we get right through. No problem.
And then what destination would you say you're looking forward to next? Like the most?
I can't really wait until I get to Colorado and get into the Rockies where all the nature is really going to be there with, you got the buffalo, the elk, the moose, the wolves, the bears, black and brown, wolverines, mountain rams. That's where it's really going to get eye-opening and really going to be the challenge through all this. We face some challenges right now, and it's getting clean water and my truck transferred to my next checkpoints. Out there, it's gonna be a lot more remote, and the only nature we have to battle right now is ticks, mosquitoes. We're getting into black bear country coming up here in West Virginia, so we will be dealing with that soon. But we don't have the elements that we're going to be facing once we get out west. That's going to really separate us between the men and the boys and the real backcountry people. And my survival skills are really going to need to be on point. And thankfully, I've really trained myself with not only the Marines, but I put myself in situations like this all the time. I'm not an amazing survivalist, but I have dabbled and I can take care of myself pretty well in the woods.